All right. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Good. Y'all look good, and welcome to everyone who looks really good sitting at home in your pajamas, or everyone in VR looking stellar. Glad to have you all with us, no matter what way you're joining us. I'm glad you're here with us today. A couple things just to let you know about before we dive into the message. Next week, we're doing Church in the Park, okay? So Church in the Park is happening out Flatiron Park, Lake Geneva, 10 a.m., baptism service all at the same time. Here's the deal. A lot of folks sometimes are intimidated to walk into a church building, so invite them to a park where they've walked before. And so it's just a sweet, easy way to do an easy invite. And so I'd encourage you to invite some friends to Church in the Park next Sunday, 10 a.m., Flatiron Park, Lake Geneva. It's just a sweet deal on 4th of July weekend. We often have people who just kind of wander on by or wander in. It's sweet to have them. And the baptisms are as well, will be happening. If you're interested in talking about baptism, maybe you're like, what's that all about? Is that my next step in my journey? We'd love to talk to you about that. You can just email us at nextsteps@lakeland.church or swing by Next Steps here. And we'd love to talk to you about baptism. So that's happening next week. Bring a lawn chair and come ready to have a good day next week in the park. Also, what else do I need? Oh, I just want to, I often just have, I think they're wins that I just want to share with you. They're just sweet notes that I sometimes get from different people. I got a note from, and I want to extend them to you because they're often to me, but they're really to you. And that's why I just want to kind of share them with you. I got this note from Kasaja in Uganda. We've been supporting them and helping fund all their teachers this year. We did that at the Christmas Eve service. He just said, this last Sunday he messaged me and he said, good afternoon, Pastor Josh. Just thank you and the entire family at Lakeland. That's you guys. So I'm sharing with you for your support in the ministry and partnering with us here in Uganda, sending our love to everyone there, and I praise Jesus for you. So thank you from Kasaja, Lakeland coach in Uganda. I just thought that was really sweet. Also, I got this one. This happened probably a couple months ago. We support Soto Christian Hospital in Ethiopia. We support them on a monthly basis. They're a Christian hospital that, yes, helps obviously serve people through the medical field, but they also are constantly sharing the gospel as they do so, and that's their heartbeat. And they had asked us, this is back in the fall, hey, do you have any extra t-shirts? Because we'd love to, they were sending a shipping container over there, and we said, yeah, we've got extra t-shirts from past events and things like that, or they're outdated, they're no longer useful to us. And so we sent them on over, and they said, and I didn't realize that this is what they were going to use them for, but they need blood all the time, obviously as a hospital, and so as a blood drive, people won't give blood unless they get something, and they'll give blood though for a t-shirt. And so they sent me this note. Here's a couple pictures as well of them handing out our shirts. But it says, thank you, Lakeland, for your donation of shirts. They've helped generate the most blood donations we've ever received in a single day. And so there's folks all over Soto wearing Lakeland gear, and that's sweet. I just love that. I love that something that for us is just extra and we don't need anymore becomes something that can be so useful and vital to another ministry. And now I just also want to let you know something that happened yesterday, and that is a whole bunch of our teens plus some adult leaders took off on a missions trip. Maybe you didn't realize this was happening, but yes, our teens are still meeting and they're doing things, and God has led them on a missions trip to Colorado. And so here's a picture, I think, of that team that took off. They're gone for a couple weeks. And so here's what I would be encouraging you to do. Just pray for this team. As often as the Lord kind of brings them to your mind, just pray for them. And here's why. It's not God just use them or God do something in them. I pray this. This is my prayer for them. God mark them. Because it's often in missions trips where God does a marking upon your life. That's often a forever change. There's a forever move that happens in your heart. And so that's my prayer over this team, and I would encourage you, just pray for them over the next couple weeks as often as the Lord brings them to your mind, that they would be marked and used by the Lord during these weeks. So just keep them in prayer. All right, and then also, my kids brought this up to me last week. Last week was Father's Day, last Sunday, and I don't know. I honestly forgot it was even happening. And until the day of, and my wife's like, Happy Father's Day. I was like, oh yeah, that's today. I don't know. I just forgot. And anyhow, they're like, Dad, you missed the opportunity. I gave you guys like a men's charge. And so I was serious about that. But my kids were like, you missed all your opportunities to tell dad jokes. And I was like, I totally did. And so just to make up some, let me just read you some dad jokes, okay? I feel like I totally missed it, and everyone deserves a couple good dad jokes. So here's a good one. I'm afraid for the calendar. Its days are numbered. My wife said that I should do lunges to stay in shape. That would be a big step forward. Why do fathers take an extra pair of socks when they go golfing? Well, in case they get a hole in one. Singing in the shower is fun until you get soap in your mouth. Then it's just a soap opera. What do a tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common? Well, they're both parasites. How do you follow Will Smith in the snow? Well, you follow the Fresh Prince. And if April showers bring May flowers, what do Mayflowers bring? Well, pilgrims. That's all. Well, that's all. Let's just end. All right, there's some dad jokes. I had to make them up. I was like, I missed it last week, so I apologize. I was going to try to work them all into my message. I was like, that's just too hard. Let's just stop that, and let's just get some out of the way and have some fun. All right, today we're finishing up our series, Health Nut, and this all came out of a survey that we did church-wide asking, hey, how are you doing in different areas of your life? And we rated ourselves as doing the poorest in the area of our health, and so we wanted to respond to that and say, all right, what does the Bible tell us about that and teach us about things like exercise and daily disciplines and diet. And today we're going to hit on something that is often overlooked in the area of health in general. It's actually spiritual discipline that happens to have some really profound physical benefits. And it's fasting. As soon as I say that, some of you are like, oh no. You're like, I don't want to. And actually, at the end of my message, my prayer for you is that you're going to say, I want to, because of really what the payout can be. What's funny, sometimes, I don't know if you've done this, but sometimes my kids will say this. We eat at, let's say, noon, and 2 hours later, they're like, Dad, I'm starving. And I look at them, I'm like, you're not starving. You just ate 2 hours ago. Like, maybe you didn't eat enough or something like that. But most of us, at the end of the day, most of us have no idea actually what starving looks like in this world. And as we think of fasting today, it's actually a discipline that might give you a glimpse into what starving looks like, but it's purposeful. Purposeful starving with a health benefit, and honestly, bigger, the more profound spiritual benefit that can take place as a result of it. And so here's what I want to do. I want to break this thing into kind of two parts. I want to just talk about the what and the why of the health benefits of fasting. Like, why would this be good for you to do from a health perspective? And then the what and the why. We'll spend the most of our time with the what and the why spiritually. Why would you want to do this? Okay, so let's start with the physical and the health benefits. Here's a few of the most common types of fasting. And the reason why I want to cover this is because this week, I'm just going to tell you this right now. I'm going to challenge us all to fast this week in some form or fashion. And so I want to just walk you through some of the types and forms that you might want to consider. So here's different types. You got water fasting. Now, water fasting is really when you fast from everything else except for water. Water's the only thing that you would intake for a given period of time, however long you determine that to be. So that's probably the first one. Then juice fasting, this would be drinking, same thing as a water fast. You eliminate everything else, but you're only drinking juices, a vegetable juice or fruit juices, things like that for however long period of time you want to fast for, once again. So it's a juice fast. Intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting has actually become much more common and well known in recent years, just really due to health crazes of how people are doing intermittent fasting. It's basically this. It's food intake is partially or completely restricted for a set number of hours in a day or rhythm within your week. And so what many people who do intermittent fasting will do is they will fast basically from dinner. It's usually consuming all your calories in a 6-hour period of time that you might consume in a day. So a lot of times people will fast from dinner one night till lunch the next day. And so you're eating all your calories between lunch and dinner and during that 6-hour period of time. And here's what it simply does from a health perspective is your body will always consume the calories from its last meal. And then after it's consumed those calories, when it doesn't have anything that is replaced there, it immediately starts burning fat. So it turns your body into a fat burning machine as soon as it's consumed the calories from its previous meal. So that's how intermittent fasting works. here's the next one, partial fasting. Partial fasting is eliminating something from your diet. So it could be that you want to eliminate certain drinks or processed foods or all sugars. I'm cutting all sugar out, or I'm cutting all bread out, or I'm cutting out all animal products or all caffeine. It's getting that, eliminating that from your diet for a set period of time. This is what Daniel did in the Old Testament. The Daniel fast is a partial fast where he eliminated everything except for fruits and vegetables. And then the final one would be a complete fast. This is fasting of everything, liquids and foods for a set period of time, however long you want that to be. You might say, now, why in the world would I do that? Well, scientists have now looked at all the benefits of fasting, and there's actually a ton of health benefits of fasting. Once again, I call this just the bennies on top of what can actually be the more important thing, which is the spiritual aspect of it. The reality is athletes do this all the time just for the health benefits of it. I think that there's actually something much more profound that can happen in our spiritual journeys. But here's some of the health benefits. Decreases your resting heart rate, decreases blood pressure, lowers your cholesterol, lowers your risk for type 2 diabetes by reducing insulin resistance, it accelerates weight loss, it reduces inflammation in the body. It can prevent cancer. It's really good for your brain function, fighting against dementia and Alzheimer's. And really, probably the easiest way to kind of put it all together is it cleanses the body. Your digestive system gets cleaned out. It gives your body a natural reset and a natural detox that takes place. And so there's these health benefits that you really just can't deny, but the more important is, I think, the spiritual benefits, and that's where I want to spend the majority of our time today. So I just here's some of your options to choose from as you think about fasting. Incredible health benefits, but let's talk spiritually. What and why? Like, why would we do this? What are we trying to accomplish by this? And here's what really, if I could kind of boil it down, would be this. It combines a physical need, which is your hunger for food, with a spiritual need. So that every time your stomach growls, if you will, you're actually being reminded to spiritually hunger for God, for something. It's a physical hunger with a spiritual hunger that's combined. As your body physically longs for something, your heart is spiritually also longing for something. In a way, fasting is also, as it can be a physical kind of reset or detox, I think in the same way spiritually. Sometimes have you ever needed just a spiritual like reset? I need a spiritual reset. I need a spiritual detox. I need a good start, like a line in the sand, and something new is starting on the next day. Well, a fast can do that for you spiritually as well. And so let me just give you a handful of places where we see it in Scripture and purposes for it, okay? And I think you'll probably see, I've experienced probably that situation or that situation or that situation in my life, and I probably never even thought how a fast could contribute to that in my life. But here's first one. First one I want to hit is this. Fast to humble oneself. Here's one of the places we see it in Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 1. Nehemiah is calling the whole nation to a fast. On the 24th day of the same month, the Israelites gathered together, fasting and wearing sackcloth and putting dust on their heads. Now, putting on sackcloth and putting dust on your heads was a symbolic way of being humble and broken. It's often of mourning. It's almost a sadness because of pride that's gotten in your way. And so it's this brokenness. And I don't know about you, but anyone kind of self-reliant in life? You're good at taking care of yourself and doing things on your own, and perhaps you just overlook God at times. And there's times I think a fast, what it does is it brings us broken and humble back before the Lord to just say, God, I've been trying to do life on my own, and I need to stop that. And I need to humble myself before you, not rely on myself. If you want to kind of reorder who's calling the shots in your life, because sometimes we do this. I'll call the shots, and then I'll ask God, is that okay? You ever do that? You want to reorder that. Fasting just kind of breaks you and says, God, I want to be broken before you. And it's this hunger, once again, to be broken and humble yourself and rely on him. Second one, I'm going to get a whole bunch of these in here. You ready? You with me? Okay. All right. Fast to draw near to God. Joel chapter 2, verse 12. Even now, declares the Lord, return to me with all your heart, with fasting, with weeping and mourning. But notice what he's saying, draw near to me. It's this coming back to the Lord. Have you ever wandered away from the Lord? Man, fasting is a way that you can say, God, I am just so hungry to come back into your presence. I want to draw near to you. I want to sense that you are near me and that you are with me. And there are times that you might just feel far from God. And so this fast, it's literally as you're physically hungry, your hunger here is a spiritual hunger to be close to him. All right, third one, fast to deny the flesh. So in Philippians chapter 3, verse 19, it says this, their destiny is talking about those who are living really by the flesh. They're living by their sinful nature. They're living apart from God. It says their destiny is destruction. Their God is their stomach. When he says that, he's simply saying, listen, whatever they hunger for in life, they feed it, and it's like as if they worship it. That they are automatically giving to and honoring most whatever they are hungry for, whether that's a sexual pleasure or a physical pleasure or an earthly pleasure. Their glory is in their shame, and their minds are set on earthly things. To fast, to deny your flesh, here's the reality is every single one of us, probably during your day today, something's going to come at you that your flesh wants to give into. Some type of temptation. And guess what you need to develop as a Christian, as a Christ follower? You have to develop a spine where you can say no. You have to develop that. It's not something that just naturally happens. You actually have to be purposeful to develop that. And one of the things that a fast does is that your stomach is hungry and you're saying, stop it. You're literally looking at a growling stomach and you're saying, no, I don't give in to the hunger that I physically feel right now because I have to develop a discipline to say no to the things that feel good. You have to. You have to develop that discipline in life to say no. It's a denying of the flesh so that you can say, I can deny the flesh so I can always be tuned into what the Spirit wants me to do. Make sense? Okay. A fourth, fifth, I don't know what I'm on. Okay. Fast to worship God, simply to worship God. Luke chapter 2, verse 36 through 37, we see a woman by the name of Anna. It says there was also a prophet, Anna, the daughter of Penuel of the tribe of Asher. She was very old. She had lived with her husband 7 years. And then after her marriage, and then she was a widow until she was 84. She never left the temple, but worshiping night and day, fasting and praying. But what is she doing? She's worshiping constantly. And her fast and her prayers is all driven toward the worship of God, just honoring him and giving him glory. It's about seeking him first and his righteousness. If there's something that your physical hunger is reminding you about, it's this hunger that I want to long to honor him and to give him glory. Have you ever just wanted to kind of up your game in the area of worship? Fasting might be something that could actually help propel you there. So we can fast for worship. All right, here's another one. Fast for freedom and breakthrough. Here's Isaiah 58, verse 6. Is not this the fast that I choose? God's talking. To loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the straps of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke. He's talking about literal breakthrough here. And so this type of a fast for freedom or for breakthrough, it's a hunger for freedom. It's a hunger for miraculous breakthrough. Jesus actually talks about this type of fast. When the disciples, they encountered this guy who was demon-possessed, they couldn't cast out the demon, and they asked Jesus, why could we not cast out the demon? And Jesus said, this type requires prayer and fasting. And basically what Jesus is saying is this. There are some types of demonic strongholds that actually require fasting and prayer. Like there's a level of resistance from the enemy that's only broken through a result of such spiritual hunger for breakthrough. Does that make sense? That you're so hungry for spiritual breakthrough and you long for it, that's what honestly breaks through even the work of the enemy. You can apply this in terms of breakthrough for other people. I'm fasting for someone else, for their spiritual breakthrough, perhaps. I've had people who have come to me and they've said, Josh, over the past, would you come to our house? We're experiencing a lot of maybe just spiritual attack in our home. We have no way to really explain what's going on here. Would you come and pray over our home? Very rarely will I just head into that situation without fasting. Almost always fast beforehand because I don't know what type of spiritual resistance I'm going to be facing. And I feel like, listen, I want to do my due diligence, which is to hunger for God's breakthrough in their home or in that space. And so if you feel like you're under spiritual attack, maybe it's to fast for God to bring breakthrough in your home, in your workplace. It could be also in terms of like maybe broken relationships. There's this relationship that it's so off. Have you ever thought about fasting for that relationship, that the Lord would work in such a miraculous way to break through, to restore that relationship? Or maybe you've got a child who's wandered away from the Lord. Have you ever fasted for them? You're fasting for spiritual breakthrough in their life. Or in times when I've fasted for people in this direction, I'm fasting, God, bring them back or break them completely. I know that sounds kind of mean, but you want them to come to the end of themselves, that they're finally turned to Him. And so, do you know anyone like that? Probably all of us are like, yeah. But did you ever think to fast? Probably no. It's huge. It's an important thing that we could do. All right, final. I got two more. All right, I'm going to keep going. Fast for God's hand to move upon a situation. Maybe you're facing a difficult situation. You're like, God, I just need your hand to move here. We see Esther model this in Esther chapter 4, verse 16. She said, go, gather together all the Jews who are in Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. I and my attendants will fast as you do. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it's against the law, and if I perish, I perish. Now, in the context, the king had made an edict in which he was going to have all the Jews killed. She is going to go to the king unannounced, which was against the law, and he could end her life just for entering into his presence without a request, and she's going to basically beg the king to spare her people, and to spare the Jewish nation. And so all the people fast for God's hand to work upon the situation, and He does. We see Esther model this. We see King David model this. When his child who's born from Bathsheba is sick and on his deathbed, he's fasting for a week for the sake of the child. We've done this here at Lakeland. And actually, it's probably one or two times that we as a church have fasted was for God's hand to move upon a situation. When we were trying to actually build this portion of our building in this auditorium, we had been voted down by our local township, and we needed the county to overturn that. And so we as a church actually fasted and prayed for God to work on our behalf in our favor. And guess what? You're sitting in the room. And it's a result of actually, I believe, the corporate fast for God's hand to work miraculously in a situation. He did. And so I don't know about you, but maybe it's someone's healing. A specific situation, you're going to fast for someone else's healing. But that's just another way that you might fast. Final one. Here's the last one, all right. Fast for guidance or wisdom. Anyone ever need wisdom? Now, it's wise to ask God for wisdom. James tells us that in the book of James. But here's also a place where this was a regular part of the Old and New Testament church as far as seeking God's wisdom. They would not make a decision without fasting about it. Acts chapter 14, verse 23. And when they had appointed elders for them in every church with prayer and fasting. So they're appointing the leaders of the churches, and they're saying, we're not just going to say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. No, they're going to fast and pray. We say we need God's wisdom to know who we're going to commit before the Lord for this ministry. And so they fasted and prayed in that. It's a hunger for God's insight and for God's knowledge. Every time my wife and we've made big decisions, it's always with prayer and fasting. Should we buy that house? Should we take that job? Should we move? Should we sign the deal or not sign the deal? Any big decision that needs wisdom, fast about it. Now, if I were just to ask you, I just covered 7 different types of fasting. If I were to ask you at the very beginning of this message, why do we fast? You probably would have been like, I don't know. You might have maybe been able to name like 1 or 2, but you probably didn't think that there's 7 different purposes even to fasting. And now if I were to ask you this, no show of hands, how many times have you fasted for any of those types of situations? No show of hands. Because for the majority of us, we're like, I've just never thought to do so. Or there's a stigma in Western culture where it's this idea of like, well, fasting, that was like that was like an Old Testament thing. That was maybe an older practice. But no, it's a spiritual discipline that's still for the church, and it's still for today, and it's actually as a gift for you and I to step into. That for all of us, unfortunately, what we've done, we've said, well, it's for the pastor, it's for the super spiritual, it's for the whatever, but it's not. If I could just make a statement, it's this: it's not just for some, it's for you. It's for you. This might be a bad example, but I feel like it's kind of like this. Remember this clip from I'm not going to show you the clip from the movie Spinal Tap? Some of you back in the day, it was a mockumentary. It's a comedy that was shot like a documentary. And it was following this band that they named, that was called Spinal Tap. And they have these amps, and they go, our amps, and they have these British accents, our amps go up to 11, And they're like, your amps go up to 11? They're like, yeah. We have special amps that go up to 11 because everyone else's amps go up to 10. But when you need that extra power, that extra boost, you turn it up to 11. And in many ways, you want to know what fasting's like? It's like taking your prayer life up to 11. It is. It's totally like, a lot of times we're like, I'm all in on prayer. But what fasting does is it goes, no, now I'm really all in on prayer. I'm really pressing into this at a level that if there's such thing as taking my prayer life from 10 to 11, I'm going there. I'm going to do whatever it takes for it to go to that level. And so this week, what I want to encourage you to do is just try it out. Try out a fast. I covered all these different ways that you might fast and all these different purposes. And so what I would encourage you to do is just pick a purpose of one of the 7. Anyone want to draw closer to the Lord? Probably everyone like, yeah. Anyone know a situation where you could use God's hand to work in a situation? Probably every hand would go in there. Anyone know someone who could use spiritual breakthrough? Probably every hand would go in there. Anyone have a broken relationship with anyone that it would be a miracle to see restored? Probably a bunch of hands in the air. So there's all these situations. Pick your purpose and then go after it with a fast. Pick your type of fast and the best day of the week that it might work for you to do it. But then what I often will do is that if I'm fasting is, you probably spend about an hour a day around a table eating. So take that same time that you would normally spend around your table and spend it pursuing the Lord in prayer. That's the exchange that I often will do as I fast. Is instead of spending the time there, I spend the time I might go for a walk. And while I'm on my walk, I'm praying and I'm just crying out to the Lord. And as I'm fasting, I'm seeking Him. But try it this week. And let me just say this as well. This is not just for someone whose life it's convenient for. Like, oh, well, if you're retired, that might be easier to fit it in with my schedule. No, it's for the working man, it's for the working woman, it's for the dads, it's for the moms, and it's for the kids. There's kids in this room here. I don't know, I really just think it was God. I remember fasting when I was in middle school and high school, and I probably at that point didn't even know why I was doing it. My first, I remember fasting for an entire week when I was a junior. All I knew is I wanted more of God. And I really believe that the Lord, even that He blessed some of my pursuit of Him in my early years, even when I didn't understand the purpose, that He honored that. And even when I look back on it now, I'm like, what high schooler or middle schooler fasts? And I don't know, for whatever reason, I would tell my parents, I go, I just feel like I'm supposed to fast for a couple days. I was like 7th, 8th grade. I'm fasting. But the Lord, here's what I know. It was even from a young age. I was basically saying, God, I want my amp to go up to 11. And if you want to propel your faith forward, if you want to see God break through, don't be afraid to step into this and go after it fully. Can I just highlight one verse for you before we're done here? Isaiah 58, verse 3, because I think this is so critical, folks. I'm just going to read 2 verses out of Isaiah 53. This whole chapter is about fasting. In fact, it's titled True Fasting. But let me just highlight these couple verses. The people are asking, the nation of Israel is asking, why have we fasted? They say, you've not seen it. Why have we humbled ourselves? You've not noticed. Now God replies to them, on the day of your fasting, you do as you please. And you exploit all your workers. Your fasting ends in quarreling and strife and in striking each other with wicked fists. You cannot fast as you do today and expect your voice to be heard on high. See, what was happening in this day and age is the people were going to church. They're doing all the right things. They're checking off the list. They're doing their daily prayers, and they're even fasting. They're saying, God, why are you not listening to us? And he says, because you're doing the stuff, but you're living your life as you please. And if I can just warn you, maybe a good question to ask yourself this week, even as you fast, is, God, do I truly have a heart that longs for you and to be obedient to you? Or do I just want to do this to somehow manipulate you into doing what I want you to do, and then I'm going to live life as I please? Because if that's your heart, I still want to live life as I please. I don't care what my behaviors look like Monday through Saturday, so long as I can check the box and maybe twist your arm a little bit to do what I want you to do for me. And he goes, that doesn't add up. I'm not listening to that. If I could ask you to just consider this big question, it's this one. Next slide. I think it's the next slide. Am I living life as I please, or living a life that really pleases God? Maybe that's a good question that you ask God during your fast this week. It's a beautiful, yes, physical reset button, but maybe for some of us, we just need a spiritual reset in our lives. And fasting will propel you into that. Okay. So let me just give you the highlights. So it's final week here. Final week of the Health Nut Challenge. Let's finish up strong the month of June, all the way till, as far as if you want to go all the way till next Sunday, that would be awesome. But here's what we did as far as the Health Nut Challenge. We actually sent out a survey this week just to say, how are things going? How are you guys doing? I actually want to share some, I think it's wins with us. For the number of people that responded back, we felt like, okay, that's probably a good segment of people that represents probably the vast majority of us as far as how we're doing. And so we just kind of applied that to everyone who's involved and multiplied it out. And so we've been basically cutting our calories from, drinking extra calories, soda, pop, things like that, sugary drinks. As a church, during the month of June, you'll love this, this is our best guess, we've cut 2,130,000 calories out from of sugary drinks and things like that. The second area is cutting out eating after dinner. And so during the month, all of us who are doing this, we've cut out 2,403,000 calories. We're also walking. We start with 1 mile on week 1, 2 miles week 2, 3 miles week 3, and then 3 miles again will be this week. And so if we finish strong and everyone keeps doing kind of what you've been doing so far, we as a church will have walked 16,170 3 miles. And then this past week, we asked you to start praying over the communities as you're walking, wherever you're walking, pray for them. So we've been praying over every city in our local community, in our local area, plus other places even in Wisconsin, like Rochester, Sugar Creek, Kenosha, Edgerton, Waukesha. We've got people walking and praying in Oconomowoc, Land of Lakes, Mishkat, Twin Lakes, Genoa City, Bloomfield, and then also in Rockford, Illinois, Nags Head, North Carolina, and then probably many other places, but those were those who responded to the survey. And so I just thought, that's pretty cool. Way to go. Go, go, go. Way to go, church. That's a big deal. I hope you're feeling a little bit better and a little bit more energized. So this week, as we finish up, let me just highlight what we're going after with the Health Nut Challenge. Don't drink your calories. Continue to do that. Don't eat anything after dinner. Continue to do that. Continue to walk 3 miles a day. That's what you're aiming for. And if I could encourage you to increase your speed or your intensity if you're able to do so. And then finally, add a fast. Pick a day, one day that will work for you, and pick a type of fast that will work for you. Pick a purpose for your fast, and then fast this week. And if during all of this Health Nut Challenge you've been, kind of energized by cutting things out of your diet and getting more active, and you're like, how do I keep that up? Like, I wish I had a way to keep that up. We actually have some groups that actually do this. I want to highlight one of them. One of our groups is actually called, they've named their group Pathfinders, and it's a hiking and mountain biking group. And so here's some ladies who are hiking, and then here's a picture of a bunch of their mountain bikers, and they go out every single week and they're doing hiking and mountain biking, and they would love for you to join them. If you're looking for a group, you can find them on their Facebook group. You can find them there and get more details at Next Steps. If you're interested in starting a group that would continue kind of some activity that you're excited about, talk to us. We'd love to talk to you about what that would look like. And because I don't want this to be like, yay, we got healthy for a month. Let's go gorge ourselves. Let's not do that. Let's stay healthy. Amen? Amen. All right, why don't you stand here and we'll close in prayer. Heavenly Father, we posture our hearts right now in the way that I know a fast leads us to. And that is this hunger for you, a longing. It's pressing in at a level that we perhaps don't normally do. And so, Lord, I pray that you would stir something in each and every one of us that would long for you and hunger for you in a profound way. And even as we think about the purpose of a fast, I know every single one of us there was probably something that I mentioned today that your heart kind of stirred as soon as I said it. That's probably it. That's your purpose. That's your God mandate. And he's saying, yes, fast for that purpose. And so, Lord, I pray that you would produce something incredibly sweet within each and every one of us as we pursue you in a more passionate way this week. We pray this all in Jesus' name, and all God's people said, amen, amen. If you have any prayer needs, we'll have some prayer partners down here on front, along the front of the stage. They're also available online. Thanks so much for your generosity. You can give in boxes in the back or online. Be blessed. We'll see you guys next week at the park.